Yeah, been doing this for 2 years, don't tell me I'm impatient. Compare me to Ross and I'm LeBron of my generation. I'm only second to the MJ.
What's good? It's your boy Baker Boy along with...
It's your boy Ancestral. How you knuckleheads doing, man?
And we back with another pod show, man. We hope everybody out there being safe, doing good, man. What's going on with you?
Chilling, man. I'm just lucky that I get Saturdays off. It's probably the best day to get off, honestly. I get time to do the most things that I need to do.
Bro, let me tell you something. For a long time, I was working on the weekend,
Yeah.
and working on Sundays is the worst for me because
Yeah, I hate working Sundays, too.
I feel like Sundays is the day if you go to church, spend time with family,
Yeah.
relax, and then you mentally prepare for the week. You know what I
agree
mean?
100%.
And I used to work on Sundays, and I used to hate it, bro. So I understand what you mean. When you have those weekends off, man, it's a blessing in itself, man.
What's your favorite day of the week?
Friday.
Friday?
And it's not because it's the end of the work week. It's just because I look forward to being able to do what I want on the weekend.
Okay.
And that's when I get to be most creative on the weekend.
I feel you.
I don't have to worry about, preparing for my next day of work.
Yeah.
I could prepare for my next day of what I want to do. And that's the biggest thing that I love about the Friday evening.
Friday evening. I think once we get on for real, I think your favorite day is gonna change.
I believe that.
My favorite day of the week right now is Monday.
Monday, why is that?
Because the way I see it, right, is so I close a lot at work, so I don't go until like 3 or 4. I get a whole week to just start off whatever I want to do. Weekends is actually when I work. I actually get more days off during the week than the weekend, so.
No, I respect that 100, man, because, and everything works differently for different people. But, I can't wait till I'm solely working for myself, and then I really think it won't matter then.
Yeah.
Because I get a chance to wake up any day and be creative.
Yeah.
So, my main thing is just getting my business up and going to the point to where I'm solely doing just that. So I'm looking forward to that.
I feel that, bro. What we got for today, though, man? Put the people on, man.
Today, man, we have some crazy topics. We're going to get real serious because there's a lot of serious things going on. Yeah. First, we're going to start with if you could buy a partnership deal with any form of entertainment now, which one would it be and why? Cicero really want to get into that one because I know he got some stuff on his mind.
I got some stuff to say about that one.
Secondly, we got the importance of owning your masters as an artist and as a photographer.
Bro, I'm about to give people a whole lot of free. All you artists and people out there, I'm about to give them a whole lot of free game on why that's so important, bro.
And then thirdly, we have plans for the future and where the inspiration for that comes from. Fourth, we have a serious topic which I really want to get into.
Yeah, me too.
The murder of Ahmaud Arbery. Will it change the twisted narrative of black and white? And then also we're gonna talk about 6ix9ine, who broke the internet this week, man.
Yeah, he killed it, bro.
Hey, if you
he owned the internet this week, man. He did.
I tell you what, boy, if you snitch, you better come out with a lot of security, and he already knew that. So we definitely gonna get into that, man.
Let's cheer it. Let's cheer it up.
Oh yeah. We got to cheers to that.
Let's cheer it up for sure.
But I'm gonna let Cicero start off with the partnership deal. So what you got on that, man?
So this is I was kind of just sitting back like I always do, just like studying social media and just studying the culture and stuff like that. And I'm starting to learn more about stuff outside of music too. I guess it's kind of like a branded mindset. Mm-hmm. And then I'm looking at a whole bunch of things that I kind of want to do partnerships with in the future when I really, really get put on. And one of the things that I'm really, really looking at is gaming. I'm starting to really see the power in gaming. Like, a lot of people don't know, but I think it's the next Olympics, which I think is in Japan or something like that. Gaming is going to actually be a sport in the Olympics.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's video games. It's like, you could say whatever you want about it, but, like, that shows you how big it's growing. Gaming is cool now. I remember, back in the days, you play video games, you're a nerd, this and that. Nah, video games is getting put on for real. And I'm starting to, see, gaming, I guess gaming houses or, gaming teams and, those people who come together to game, they're getting big sponsors. Maybe something like Sprint will come and do stuff like that with them. And that's just something that if you want to have a business on the side or you want to build up some type of business for residual income, gaming is something to really, really step into because it's just growing, man.
And it's crazy that you mentioned that because it's a lot of businesses and partnerships and companies doing things that because we're not into, we might not never see.
Yeah.
And if the average person is not into gaming, they don't really pay that much attention, so they don't see the growth. What through my mind, and a lot of people in Miami don't even know this. I'm a nerd when it comes to electronics and cameras and
I know.
I love cameras and stuff, bro. Do you know that they have professional drone races at Dolphin Stadium, at the
Really?
Hard Rock?
Like they race the drones?
They race the drones through the stadium.
That's
like
crazy.
There are professional drone racers who their life is to fly drones and race them.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, bro. They literally turn the stadium into a obstacle racetrack.
Yeah.
Where you have to fly. They fly through the tunnels.
Yo, that sounds so fun to watch.
Bro, if you ever
man.
get a chance, look it up on YouTube. They have to wear the glasses,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and they gotta like fly like through the camera of the drone.
Yes,
that sounds so fun,
bro. It's awesome. They actually have it to where you can fly through the tunnels back into the stadium, and they have like circles and lights, lasers that you have to fly through.
That's like a video game, basically.
Like a real life video game.
That's
so
crazy.
I'm listening to you, talk about the video games, and that's what put it in my head because the technology has gotten to a level that it's never been before. So now it's like a real life video game. So I'm pretty sure what you're saying is 100% going to happen, because that's where technology has taken the regular Mario Go-Kart stuff is out of here. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, think about like what NBA players do when they're not playing, bro.
Exactly.
They stream in their free time, and like they're all doing it right now. And I'm keeping up with other streamers that like get partnership deals with big houses and then even bigger companies and stuff. Like those guys make bank playing video games, bro.
You were even telling me about somebody put a concert on Fortnite.
Yeah, it was Travis Scott.
Unheard of, bro.
Think about that, bro.
Unheard
Travis
of.
Scott, and he doing a partnership deal with Game and Fortnite, one of the biggest games in the world, doing a concert in a game, like in an actual game for you to watch. Like
that's crazy.
Gaming is growing faster than people might want to give it credit for, man.
And the reality of it is that kids and teenagers are the ones who push those platforms. They're the ones who share. They're the ones who's on those message boards. They're the ones who's pushing their parents and, everybody to purchase these things for them. So when you start looking at the fact that, okay, this is stuff that's not just in our area, this is worldwide.
Yeah.
Everybody's into video games somewhere, whether you are, but it's somebody next to you is. So yeah, I could see that being the next wave of the future, man. And honestly, I would love to be a part of it in any way. I mean, when you start looking at partnerships, you start understanding, and when you start understanding business, you understand that that's how you grow.
Yeah, you gotta build for the future, not for the right now.
People who say stuff like self-made, it's a term. It's not reality.
Yeah, nobody is self-made. You got a team behind you.
You have a team behind you, and if you don't have a team behind you, you learned the steps from somebody else.
Yeah.
Because what I've learned as well is that you have to be open, and you have to understand that certain narratives, not even so much a certain narrative, certain things are in place for a reason.
Yeah.
It's a certain order that you have to follow. And in order to get to a certain point, it's certain partnerships that you need to make. And once you make those partnerships, you start seeing that your opportunities they just widen. It gives you more doors open. So
yeah,
I'm definitely excited to see where that's gonna go, man.
And right now, it's probably, there's a lot of other partnerships you could go with. Gaming is not just one of them. You could do like music stuff or sports stuff, but I think probably gaming is the best for the future because the community that's building that up are all so young. Those guys, they're going to be around for a long time. You know what I mean? If you go into something like sports, you could run the risk of running into like an older partnership where it'll die out in a few years. Or music is very unpredictable. You never know which artist is going to fall off and which artist is going to stay on. But with gaming, gaming is not new. Gaming's been around decade plus already, and now it's a whole new wave. You could thank games like Fortnite and Call of Duty for that, but it's a whole new wave. All young people. There's like 12-year-olds that stream Fortnite and make money off of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great community to build off because of the fact they're so young.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if sports. Let's take football for instance. The only way for football to stay at the level that it is for the young generation to keep growing up into it. Yeah. But what if the young generation just all of a sudden turns into a whole bunch of gamers? Who are not athletic, who are not really into sports like that. They like playing sports maybe on the video game.
Yeah, like 2K and stuff like that. Yeah.
But they're not really,
they're not going out to the actual court, the actual field. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you start looking at it, and I think that's a big reason why you have so many people from, like, if you look at the NBA, it's so diverse now because they have to find players from everywhere else. Yeah. Because let's just be honest, you don't have all the kids at the basketball court playing as hard as they used to be. Most of them are playing the game. So
playing 2K.
Yeah. So the gaming world is going to be the next wave, man, and it's already the next wave. It's going to be like probably the biggest wave of entertainment for everybody because you have adults who play these games.
There's no restrictions to it, bro. And it's probably the biggest thing. it's where sports and even music have a cap is that they're mostly an American thing. Gaming is international.
Bingo.
You don't gotta speak the language to
exactly.
watch the game. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure like when Ninja was on and killing it on Fortnite and was running the world, pretty sure there's a Russian kid who don't speak English at all, but he knows the game and he knows exactly what's going on.
100.
If you don't speak English, it's gonna be hard to love hip hop, or at least American hip hop. If you're not really into basketball or football, like other countries, they love soccer. They're not really gonna like American sports, but gaming is international. So there's really no cap as to where it could stop or continue to grow.
And it's something that you could play everywhere. And this is another thing that, that comes to play. Look at what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
Can't go outside and play sports.
You could play with your friends, though. Through a game. You don't even got to go to their house. Do it from your house.
We all on quarantine, so what sports had to stop. Gaming didn't.
Gaming didn't stop.
If
anything, right now, gaming's getting more light right now.
I'm telling you, and if that's not a reality check, and I could take it even further, let's not even just look at video games. Like, adults might not play video games, but they play games on their phone.
Phones, yeah. My mom does, bro. She plays stuff on her phone all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're talking about an older generation is doing this. So I wouldn't be surprised if we got to a point to where everybody, old and young, because, that's what it's going to go to. The same adult parents or older people that we see playing on their phones now would be probably us in the generation who's going to be able to play the video games.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things that it just may change to a way that everybody might actually be involved. So, if you could get a partnership of being involved in it anyway, the time is now, man.
You can decide when you want to retire, too, as a video gamer.
Which is crazy.
It's
like,
crazy. You could play. Yeah, my thumbs hurt. I don't want to, my thumbs hurt. Bro, you could play video games to you 50 or 60 if you wanted to, bro. Every sport got a cap. You get hurt. Gaming, you decide when you don't want to do it. You know what I mean?
You guys think I'm playing, but there actually have been doctors who've had kids come in. You can ask any doctor.
Yeah.
They've had kids come into the doctor's office who have had thumb injuries, who have had hand injuries from playing the games.
Yeah, they played a little too much. You know what it is though? I looked it up. It's like from what I've noticed, is mostly in controller players because you could play on PCs and stuff too.
Yeah.
I've noticed it's mostly in controller players. PC players play way quicker because everything's just on a little keyboard. They got the mouse right. I've noticed, I was doing research, it's like this way that they play on a controller. I think it's called a claw method, where instead of holding the controller like normal, they hold it and they kind of just play like this. And it's apparently like all the pro players play like that, but it's not good for your fingers because that's not a natural motion. So when you talk about the kids who have been coming in with those kind of problems, it's probably those kind of kids.
Which is crazy to me, bro.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that we played sports? Can you imagine getting an injury from playing a video game, bro? Like when I was younger, the only injury came from video games is when you beat somebody 21 zip and mad and they threw the controller.
You threw the controller, you got to go get a new one.
Man, we done went through a lot of controllers
I was
back in
just
the day,
about to
man.
say, I broke probably a good amount of controllers in my day back when I was on the 2K grind.
I'm telling you, but that 2K is serious. But let's go on to the next topic. Let's talk about the importance of owning your masters as an artist and a photographer.
To say, man. I got a whole lot to say. So, obviously, I'm an artist, you're a photographer, right? For a lot of people out there who might not know this is something that I learned very, very early. I'm lucky that I have a lawyer and I have an attorney. She's actually my sister.
Oh, that's what's up.
So
I need to holler at her.
Yeah. Shout out Michelle. I got very, very lucky that I have not only someone as smart as her, but someone that I can trust. Because, you can find a lawyer, but we've all heard stories of lawyers screwing their artists over. So I got very lucky that I have a lawyer that's close to me, that's family, that I could trust. And I also have a manager that I could trust as well, too, a manager that I grew up with. So I'm lucky that I got people in my circle that I can trust and that are very trustworthy, which is very, very important. That's underrated. And something that I learned very, very early on is, as an artist or as a photographer, a videographer, whatever you do creatively, it's always important to own the rights to your work. That's what we mean when we say own your masters. It's important to own the rights because in hip-hop, there's things called 360 deals. And 360 deals, for those who don't know, is basically you sign deals with labels that give you a big advance. The advance is what they try to use to pull you in. They'll say, hey, we'll hand you $500,000. You sign this right now, right? And a lot of artists go, damn, $500,000. They don't know the $500,000 immediately starts getting cut down because that's gross. That's not net, right? That $500,000 is probably gonna come down to like $350 after you take taxes out and everybody you gotta pay. They start paying for stuff they don't have. So that's what labels do immediately to bring you in. They try to hand you a big advance, right? I learned from J. Cole I think J. Cole, I can't remember what number it was that he got offered, but a label tried to offer him a huge number, like millions, as an advance. And he said, I don't care about the advance. I want my masters. And I'm like, at the time, I didn't know. I'm like, damn, you just turned out all that money for whatever masters is? I started looking into it. If you don't have your masters, you don't own your masters, and you get into 360 deals with different labels, what's going to happen is all the profit you start making off of everything, now you got to share that with your label. You got to cut that in half. You own your masters, you only got to cut that with, like, let's say your producer or your lawyer, like the people you need to be giving percentages to.
Yeah.
And it's not supposed to be humongous percentages. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be like 5% for you, 5 for you.
All this 20%,
yeah, all this
30%,
20, 30. Nah, that's
people.
way too much. Labels do 360s. They call that, it's 50-50. You make $1 million, you got to immediately, half $1,000,000 is not even yours. And for what? Because you wanted to take the advancement, the advance, because the advance is a nice looking number. If you believe in yourself, you play the long game, you sign a masters, you'll make more money off of owning all your stuff than you'll ever made on that advance.
And even with that, and I'm gonna let you finish because I like what you're saying and I want you to keep going. But even with that, what bothers me with artists is even if you choose to do that,
yeah,
why below that 500,000?
It's because a lot of artists are not sure, or they're not sure, they're not aware that 500,000 is not actually 500,000.
So they feel like they're gonna get more money.
Yeah, they start buying stuff they can't afford, thinking they're gonna get more. When in reality, they sign a 360. Most of that money's not gonna be theirs. That's what it's so important. You own your masters, not just on the label, but your songs too. I learned that from Russ. Russ like put out like 300 something songs, whatever it was. He was doing like a song a week, and he just makes residual income. He'll wake up one morning and a new song go platinum. And a new song go platinum. He don't got to share that with nobody because he owned the rights to all his music. So
that's what's up.
It's the same. It's no different for a photographer. You own the rights to your picture. That's for real. You own copyrights and rights reserves for your pictures. Anytime somebody let's say they want to download your picture for a wallpaper, you got to cut off of that.
Exactly.
Somebody want to use that in their video or they want to put it on a wall somewhere, you got to cut it out. If you don't own your masters, they use your picture for free.
For free.
And it's with your songs too. If somebody wants to use your song, let's say somebody's making their own podcast, right? I own the masters to all my stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say somebody wants to use one of my songs as for an intro video for their thing, right? I legally, if I wanted to, could be like, hey, yo, where's my money at?
Exactly.
Now, I'm not necessarily the type to do that, but there are a bunch of artists out there. I'm not really the type to charge people like for a verse or nothing like if I fuck with you, I fuck with you. If you dope, I'm gonna work with you. I'm not the type to charge for features and stuff like that. Because when you charge for features, I feel like you're working with people you don't really respect. You know what I mean?
And I've always had a feeling, and not so much that not to say that you would never charge for a feature, but it's just the way you go about
it. It's like, oh, 20K, I'll get you 8 bars. Like, I'm not that type of artist.
Exactly.
I'm not that type of artist.
You know what I mean? And why don't you get into it about what you have to do to own your masters?
It's very simple. Well, I won't say it's very simple. The process sounds simple, but you have to have the right people in play to put it in a place. So this is why I say, as an artist, find a lawyer or an attorney that you trust or somebody who knows the legal stuff. That's why I say I got very lucky. Back in 2018, March of 2018, when my label came to me and wanted to sign me, right? Me and my homies are starting up. We own our masters as a label because we're an independent label. We're not signed to any big label. So if I drop a hit today, we're the next big label. We're not signed with anybody. I don't have to give that to anybody, right? When they handed me that contract, first thing I did before I even read it, I immediately emailed it to my lawyer. And I said, yo, read this for me, please. And we'll get on a FaceTime call. I think the FaceTime call is like an hour long. And she broke everything down to me, everything. Not a single part of it sounded fishy. That's why I say get an attorney you trust. Because an attorney might, they know you don't understand it. They're going to read it to you differently just to get you to sign it because they know that they're going to get a percentage off of it if you sign it, right? I trust her, right? And she read it to me. Nothing sounded fishy. I'll give out the details. There's 3 years. It's called creative control. Creative control means my label doesn't tell me when to put out an album. They don't tell me how many songs to put out on the album. I don't have to submit the album cover to them for review. This is stuff a lot of artists don't know. They don't know that if you sign 360s, you got to do all that. You got to drop when they tell you to drop, how many songs they tell you to drop. If they say, yo, we need a single, you got to do it or the cover. If you're on a creative control deal like I am, you can do whatever you want whenever you want.
I was listening to Trick one day.
Shout out to Trick, Miami legend. Shout out.
And Trick was asked what song did he hate the most. And you know what one he said?
Which one was it?
Sugar.
Sugar?
The one
that
he
song
did
too.
with
That's a good song too. I love that song.
Who was on it with him?
It was
Big Boy.
Big Boy. Yeah.
And Trick could tell you he hates that song.
Which is crazy. That's a good song too.
As popular as that song is, Trick doesn't even like that song. But he was in that position to where
he didn't own his masters for that song?
I'm not sure, but I know he had to make that marketable type song, which we already know ain't Trick.
Yeah, that's not him.
That's never been Trick.
Yeah, that's never been him. That's never really been Uncle Luke either. Miami artists are not really the type to make those kind of records. I'm not even really like that. We like making music that's real. You know what I mean?
And when you listen to the song,
so I love Miami artists. Yeah, it's a good song, but you could if you know Trick, you know that's not Trick. And that's what I love about Miami artists is we like to make what we make. You know what I mean? So that's why I say for artists, if you do want to sign to a label, now you don't have to sign to a label. You could be completely independent. The only thing is if you're independent, you got to fund everything yourself. You got to go get your own sponsorships, your own everything. So it's harder when you're independent, but it's more profitable if you do it the right way. I kind of was in the middle ground where I want the power of a label, but I don't want the power of a big label because big label is going to try to screw little artists. That's why I went and started it with my homies that I trust. We got our own independent label. We have artists on our label. Shout out to Stefan and Seb and Scott. Come on, everybody on the label. And Shebs, too. That's my producer. He gets me right. And we got our own independent label. Everything we do, we fund ourselves. We got percentages to cut with ourselves. We don't got to cut nothing with Sony or Universal or none of those big things. Maybe in the future, when I'm on that level, maybe I'll think about partnerships with them. But artists, I mean, big labels are not helping themselves because you got artists out here that's giving out stories about how labels are screwing them over. That's not helping you as a big label.
And it's so many platforms that now to get your music out
there's no middleman. You know what I'm saying? Back in like the 80s and the 90s and 2000s, you needed a label because there was no social media. There was no way to just get your song out instantly. You needed a label to get your song on a billboard. You needed your label for the radio connects. You needed your label for all the CDs and ticket sales and all that. Now, you just go on your social media. Yo, I'm dropping a song such and such time. You submit it to TuneCore or United Masters, whoever. They put your song out, and it's out in a few days, and that's it. Even stuff like SoundCloud is out as minute the second you put it out.
Which is crazy to me. Like
the access artists have now. Man. That's why artists are getting a lot smarter with stuff like that. You know what I mean?
And I was telling Cicero the other day, I remember, man, being on South Beach back in the day, and Pitbull, man, he's amazing to me for how he grew and how he turned into this mega artist.
He's a Miami legend for sure.
Miami legend for sure. I remember him passing out his CDs
Shout
for
out
free.
To Pitbull, man.
And he handed us a CD. We were sitting in my homeboy's truck riding to South Beach. I forgot what holiday it was.
Dale.
But, you know, back in the day, we all used to go to South Beach and post up before police and everybody else made everything crazy. Not just the police, but, you know, the nonsense and people and everything. And we used to hang out there. And, bro, I never forget, bro. He walked up to the car and he had on this big old jersey,
the big baggy clothes,
And he was passing out the CD. And we took the CD and we put it in the CD player. My homeboy had a system in the truck. And we didn't skip a track.
That's the OG grind right there.
We didn't skip a track.
That's such a dope story.
Next thing I know, next time I heard Pitbull was on Lil Jon's album.
Where that's how he came freestyle. Up. Yeah.
And after that, it was he never looked back.
The rest is history.
Oh man, the rest is history.
Pitbull is he's like him. I feel like him, Ross, Trick, Uncle Luke, like those guys are like the definition of Miami, like what it means to be from here. That's an OG grind right there, handing out CDs. I mean, I know that's a tip. Bro. You know, that's a quote unquote typical story. Everybody handing out their CDs.
But most people try to sell their CDs.
Yeah, most people try to sell it. When you handing it out for free, bro,
and you confident in your music, you can do that.
That's such a Miami thing to do, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, let's go to plans for the future and where the inspiration comes from. Now, with that, man, I'm going to be honest with you. For me, it's real simple. Just wanting to be my own boss and just, you know, with my business, like I told you, I love to be creative, man.
Yeah.
I love to be able to make my own schedule, and I also love to be able to have creativity of my work.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
I kind of attack photography just like I feel that you would as an artist. You know what I mean? Like how you attack, you know, music and everything. Like I don't like putting out a bad product. Like I've taken pictures sometime and somebody got on me about why I didn't post this or why I didn't post that. It's because in my head I didn't look at it 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if I want to.
No. There's nobody out there who's heard my songs more than me.
I'm telling you, bro. Nah. And I had to learn that I'm my worst critic.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, you know, just like I really got into, I used to always like to do regular backgrounds. Now I'm getting into doing more digital backgrounds, which, you know, most photographers should be able to do. But you know, it's gotten to a point to where it's like. It's gotten to a point to where it's like I just kind of enjoy being able to look at something and feel what the other person feels when they look at it.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is I get confused with the fact that I know certain mistakes, or not even so much as certain mistakes. I know what I did to get to that point, but I don't necessarily want you to know. So when I take certain pictures, let's say it's a digital background, I need you to look at it and think it's real.
Okay.
My problem is that when I look at it, I know it's fake.
You know it's fake. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes that bothers me, and I question myself on it. But then I'll take the same picture and I'll show it to somebody. They'll be like, "Oh my God, that's amazing!" And you know, that's my biggest problem when it comes to that. But that's what motivates me, man. And like I said, I like doing what I enjoy. It's nothing like doing something that you enjoy, because when it's something that you enjoy, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like you're just feeding your passion.
You just dropped a gem right there, yo, for
definitely. Sure. It just feels like you're enjoying yourself leisurely and you're getting paid for
happiness, bro.
Definitely. What about you?
I would definitely say I think my biggest improvement from when I first started, aside from the actual music itself, because if you hear my old stuff and my new stuff, I've clearly gotten better. Like, I don't have to say I got better. But I think my biggest improvement has been my ability to self-critique myself without being caught up in myself, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, like, when I first came out and I was just rapping, I'm like, man, I'm the hardest motherfucker out here. I know. And it's like, now I'm like, okay, I know even though this song is hard, it's not going to catch this person's attention. Or I know this bar is not going to hit the way it should hit. Or even though I like this beat, I know this is not a very marketable beat. Understanding my audience and what people enjoy when they hear music. Yes. I think that's something that I've gotten very, very good at now. And I think because of that, my music has evolved. The actual music itself. I'm making a lot of different music now. And then once you start making different music and you start venturing out into different types of music, then you just start improving.
And it's funny that you say that, because like I tell you all the time, I still rock to your old music.
Yeah, that's classic, bro.
I'm an old school head.
Yeah.
So, you know,
it caters to you a little more.
It caters to me more.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure.
And I understand why certain songs that I may like that maybe it's not hot to put out right now. And that's the hard part for an artist. And even with me, let's just be honest, and I'm not trying to be racist, but I'm just being honest. White people like different pictures from black people.
100%. Yeah, you're right.
If you look at the backgrounds, the settings of what people want.
Yeah. The way they dress too.
The way they dress.
Yeah.
Most white people, and this is not being racist, it's the fact, they just like more simple type
stuff.
Pictures.
Yeah, no, you're right.
They don't really want all of these colors and but you know, most, and I don't even want to just say black, mostly urban, young, you know.
It's different cultures out there. It's different cultures out there. Yeah,
they like more extravagant, crazy backgrounds.
Something shining in the picture.
Something shining, you know, and that's just what it is. It has nothing to do with racism or anything. It's just what it is. We like different things.
Yeah.
I could take a picture that of somebody sitting on a mountain reading a book, and you have half of the people who would say it's boring and another half who says it's beautiful.
I'm the type to say it's beautiful.
You know, it's just what it is. Yeah. Everybody's in, like I say, I don't want everybody to think it has anything to do with race. And it has to do a lot with preference, but overall, there's a difference.
Yeah.
When I meet with a white client, what they want is usually different from what the black client asks for.
Yeah.
The black client wants all this extravagant, flashy stuff, usually, not always.
And you can tell in the finished product, too.
And you can tell. You can look at what they post. You can look at what people like. And I think that's what we get caught up with in different races, and not understanding that people just like different things.
Yeah.
And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And it works the same way with music. Some people like this, some people like that. And we talked about it on the last show about it's not fair to diss something that you're not into.
Yeah, I try not to do that anymore. I used to do that when I was younger. I try not to do that anymore.
I did it too.
Because I'm starting now to understand the other side and why they like it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And I've gotten to the point to where I like all types. I listen to white people songs. Probably more than I listen to rap now. Let me tell you, I listen to hip hop because I've matured.
Yeah.
And I'm at a level now to where I just feel like, okay, I can appreciate. I hate to get off point. I took my girl one night to it was Parrot Jungle.
Okay.
And they had the extravagant lights around the Christmas time. And they had this little Korean boy and this girl. She was doing dancing with hula hoops.
Yeah.
Bro, it was like the most. I don't like watching that stuff. They had on like the ballet stuff and all that.
Yeah.
Bro, she killed it, and you know why she killed it to me? Because I could respect how hard it was to do what
that.
she was doing.
Because then you can ask yourself, can you do that?
Bingo.
And you probably can't do it.
Bingo.
Which is why you should appreciate it.
100%. When you start understanding something like. She's sitting there with a gold hula hoop. She went from 1 to 3 to 4 to 5, and then she brought in like 30.
Yeah.
And started spinning them around. No. Bro, I would never want a hula hoop. But I respect the hell out of her because she put on a show.
Mm-hmm.
And I understood how hard that was. Whether I like it or not.
Yeah.
Mad respect, like standing ovation type stuff, because you don't understand what somebody puts into their own craft.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that they can stop and take their time and practice something like that, hula hoops, to the point to where it's a show. We know people who hula hoop, kids hula hoop all day.
Yeah, kids hula. I was about to say kids hula hoop all the time.
She gets paid to do this.
Yeah.
Bro, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And it puts you on a point, it puts you at a level of maturity to understand that when you stop, like you just said, and look, and understand how hard somebody worked at their craft, you have to respect that. If you respect hard work, then you respect that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, like, because you made a great point earlier I wanted to address. You were talking about, like, the different, different cultures and people liking different stuff, right? There's a saying that says a picture, I think it's
worth 1,000 words?
Yeah, a picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Yeah. Or lies.
Yeah.
Or lies, because I could do a lot of manipulation in some pictures, man.
So the whole ideology of a picture's worth 1,000 words and people liking different stuff, right? As a photographer, that's his own art form, right?
Yeah.
Now try to take that same thing and put it into music.
Yeah.
That's where the challenge comes for somebody like me, right? Is essentially to try to take a picture or a video and to put it into words and to tell the same story the same way.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so obsessed with it. You know what I mean? That's why you got to be good with words too. And if you're not good with words, you better sound good, like certain people do out there.
And that's why I like, if anybody ever comes to me, and even when me and you work together, I always want a video that tells that song.
The story.
Like me and Cicero talk all the time. Like, when I record a video, I want that video to give you a visual of what he's talking about. And if it doesn't do that, then I'm disappointed in myself. I hate videos that don't go with the song. I've always been that way.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
I've always been that way growing up. I want you to see the story that the artist is telling. And a lot of times it frustrates me because I have a lot of artists come up to me and they'll want this or they'll want something with all these graphics and flicking all over the place. And like I said, some people like that. Mm-hmm. I'm just not one of them. I like basic switches.
Like when we went to Bayside, bro. When we did the video for Young Corleone.
I love that, bro.
That's one of my favorite things ever because it's really there's no graphic stuff in the background.
Real.
It's just me with a dope fit on.
Real.
With the background with like a Godfather Scarface kind of vibe in the back and just telling a story. People love that. People tell me all the time that's their favorite song by me, bro.
Bro, I love that. And that's the goal to me is to make the audience feel like they're watching something that's real. You know what I mean? It's not just a whole bunch of flickering all over the place. You're watching this story, and I want you to be caught up in this story. You know what I mean?
The chemistry's important too, man. How many times do we do stuff together and we don't even plan it?
Bro, so many times, bro. So many times, man. So let's go on to something a little bit more funny because this is hilarious to me, man. All right, so those of you who are familiar with 6ix9ine.
Tekashi 6ix9ine, bro.
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Hell of a story, bro.
Let me tell you about Tekashi 6ix9ine from my perspective. Bro, when I first saw him, I thought he was an act.
I did too.
Nothing but an act. The way he looks, all of that.
I agree.
Then when I first heard his songs, I was like, get out of here. No.
I was a little bit the same way too.
But I knew it would work.
Yeah.
Because the generation that we are in now, people go for what they see.
He is probably, I mean, I'll probably have to think about it a little bit, but kind of just freestyling off the top of my head, he's probably the best representation of what kind of the culture is now in a way.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like he embodies that so perfectly. The stuff that he does now is so accepted. Back then it wasn't accepted. You know, like they get out of here. 6ix9ine, who is that? Get out of here.
Exactly.
It's now stuff that he does, the whole rainbow hair and the tats on his face.
Wouldn't have worked back in the day.
Wouldn't have worked back
but
in the day.
But it works now.
It works now. So
Definitely.
you got to give kudos to him for knowing that works, because whether you like it or not, he profits off of it. Yo, I don't know if you noticed, he broke 2 records in like a day or like the same day.
Bro,
The previous IG live record, I think, was held by Tory Lanez, was like 350K. Tekashi came on and it peaked, I think, at 2.1 million.
which
And then on YouTube, I think the previous record for the most views in 24 hours was Eminem at like 33 million. He just smashed like 42 or something like that, whatever it is.
but that tells you right there, and I'm gonna be honest with you. It tells you that your haters still follow you because a
Yeah.
lot of people don't like him.
Yep. A
A
lot
of people don't like him, but he's
like
getting
him.
all of these views because they still want to see what he's doing.
Views are views, man.
And this is the part that they got me with him because, like I said, when my first impression of when he was on the scene, I was like, I could see why, but it just wasn't my thing. I listened to his music and I thought he was like really 6'9". You know what I mean? Like the way he raps and talk, you would think he's 6'9". He's like this.
Yeah, he's small.
So okay, then you start getting into the fact of you have music versus real life. This is where the problem came for me. When you cross that line between what's music and what's real life, you put everybody who's around you and your young listeners at risk of being in those situations.
Of thinking it's acceptable?
It's acceptable.
In the real world, yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
The young listeners start thinking that this is something that's normal because you try to make it seem like you crossing them both. You're making your music seem like this is your reality.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of youngsters, and even, like I said, I teach, so I ask my students about these things. And then what bothers me is the students start believing all of this character, that it's real, which, how could you blame him when he's out here getting in gunfights and doing all this other stuff?
Yeah.
The problem is that even though he was doing that, and I tell people all the time, shooting a gun, robbing a bank, doing all this does not make you hard. This does not make you a thug. But because he was doing all these things to validate his character, living his raps, you get the young generation to start believing it. But then you actually get into real trouble, and we see who you really are.
Yeah.
Who we knew that you were from the beginning.
Which we saw when he went in and got in that whole situation.
He got in the whole situation. Bro, they said, the man told on more people than
probably were
IRS,
involved in it.
bro. Come on, man. Like, really, it's ridiculous. Like, it got to the point to where, you start seeing, and then, people like me was like, yeah, it didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But
it didn't surprise me either.
Him back on the internet and
Breaking
everybody
the internet.
just going crazy just shows you how if you are just relevant in some type of way, positive or negative, people will still watch.
You want to know why I think he really did break the internet, though, when you break it down, though? So, everybody knows that he snitched. He went in there. He gave out a whole bunch of names and details, whatever the case is, blah, blah, blah. I think, though, the reason he broke the internet, people know what he is, and people know who he is and what he does, right? But I think it's because they missed the character that he is. And the troll, because he's a troll. He's a troll. They miss the character because there's not really a character like him in the game. Whether you like him or not, he's very unique.
Bro.
And I think people missed that when he was gone.
Not only that, everybody has nothing else really to watch.
That's
right
also
now.
true.
So
that's a little part of it
perfect
too.
time.
Yeah, it's a
even
perfect
if-
time to come back.
Everybody's home quarantined, and so you sit there and it's like, let me see what this character's doing. You know what I mean? And you watch, and next thing you know, so many people watch. But what's crazy is that I'll never forget. I forgot who he was beefing with. He went to somebody's hood that he was beefing with.
He beefed with a lot of people.
And he recorded a video, and bro, they said it was like 3 a.m. He recorded a video, and it made it seem like he was in somebody else's hood when they was bro. He posted the video the next day, I think at like 9 o'clock, talking about, I'm in your hood. Where y'all at?
Yeah, where y'all at?
All of the dudes went out with guns looking for him.
He wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
I know what video you're talking about.
He was there the day before. Yeah. Bro, that's funny. It'll get you
I
killed.
I see why people are entertained by it. I'm personally not really entertained by it because I that's just not what I'm into.
Exactly.
But like I said, when you talk about appreciating everything and seeing where the value is in everything, you look at the other side. I see why people are entertained by 6ix9ine.
And like I said, I watched it because it was funny.
Yeah, I watched it because it was Yeah,
so that just gave him another view. So it's just one of them things to where it's just like, relevancy is just about being on the scene.
You think he's gonna last? Let me ask you that. You think he's gonna last?
Unfortunately,
You think he
yes, because he can always entertain.
will?
And to me, and if you can survive snitching,
Yeah. Well, he's still on the clock, so let's see.
he's still on the
He's
clock.
still on the clock with the whole snitching thing. Let's see how long. But if he survives the quote unquote clock, yeah, he'll probably stick around for a
He'll
while.
probably stick around, man.
He's young too, so he's very in touch with the culture and what's going on
and
what people like and are acceptable. You know what I mean?
And you're as good as your last song. We already know that.
And his last song is running the world right now. So yeah.
Let him hop on a track with somebody who is doing big or relevant, and people will forget everything real quick.
Yeah.
So that's just how it goes.
You dropped the gem. I'm gonna repeat it for the artists out there. You're only as good as your last song. That's actually very important. You're only or as good as your last. Whatever it is, you're only as good as what you last did.
That's why I respect Rick Ross so much. Like,
you know, Ross is my favorite rapper.
Look how many people was clowning him.
The biggest. That's my favorite rapper, dog. I love Ross.
Look how many people was clowning him with the Officer Ricky thing, bro.
Because he was I think he was a club bouncer or something like that.
I think he went to class for being a correction officer or something like that. Something he did. Which, who cares?
Who cares?
You know
bro?
what I mean? It was funny because, at the time, it was the only thing that people had to say, but he constantly dropped good music. And when you keep
He's
dropping
one of the
good
most
music,
consistent, dog.
bro,
Ross
you
is
can't
amazing.
Deny it. You can't deny it. If your product is great, you're going to survive.
You're going to survive, bro. Ross is hands down. I mean, you know this. Ross is my favorite rapper. He's from here. It's one of the reasons I love him. But Ross is just so consistent, man. Like, Ross got one of the greatest flows. In my opinion, one of the greatest catalogs of all time. All his albums are hard. He's just consistent, man. Whatever you want to say about him, it goes to what we were talking about Drake last time, too. Whatever you want to say about Drake, when you are consistently great, you're going to survive. Nobody could really say anything. You can say whatever you want about LeBron, too. But when you consistently in the finals and the playoffs and doing all this, there's only so much you can say before you start sounding like a hater.
Bingo.
You know
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So, now we're gonna go into a more serious topic.
Yeah, this was big.
This is this one is really interesting to me because I don't like what everybody thinks is a good part of the situation. And I'll get more in depth in that, but we're gonna talk about the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. And we want to know whether it changed the twisted narrative of black versus white,
Which has been going on forever.
and I'm going to be honest with you, and this is the part that I don't like. And, everybody thinks that once you see certain things, it's supposed to go the way that you see it. They released that video of the footage of the whole shooting incident.
Of him jogging in the neighborhood?
And those of you who don't know, let me refresh you. Ahmaud Arbery was allegedly, because we don't, it's an open case, was allegedly jogging through a neighborhood when he was chased and shot by 3 white guys. So first it was 2. Now they're saying that the third guy who actually recorded the video
Was part of it as well.
This is the problem for me. Where do we get that narrative of the story from? Because Arbery's dead.
Yeah. He's not here to defend himself.
So who said that? Who is the one who came up with the narrative that he was jogging and he got gunned down and shot? Who came up with that?
Because apparently the white guys are saying they thought he was a robber or a burglar, which, I mean, we don't have a close-up on him, but he don't exactly look like he was dressed as a burglar.
And he don't look like he had nothing on him either, number one. So
no bag, no nothing.
Nothing. He didn't look like he was robbing anything. But people fail to understand the law. Everybody wants to jump conclusions because they feel, I saw this video, they shot him, they need to go to jail for the rest of their life. I'm sorry, people. That's not how the system works.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not, Arbery's not the one that's going on trial. The white guys are the ones that's the defendants, which means that all they have to do is prove upon a reasonable doubt that this was justified in any type of way. Now, this is the other part that people don't understand. Once you release a video,
you're taking it to another level, man.
It is not 100% admissible in court.
Yeah.
Because you and everybody in America is guaranteed to a fair trial. How can you guarantee a fair trial if everybody saw the video? So therefore, they have to go now and find a jury that is subjective in this situation,
not biased or any way,
not biased in any way, which
yeah.
means they have to not have seen the video.
Which is hard right now with this case.
Hard,
with this
one.
case, it's very
With this
difficult
case,
because pretty much everybody's seen it at this point.
it's everybody from that's a younger generation.
Yeah, the young generation. Yeah, you're right. It's the young generation. Really.
Yes. So what they're going to end up having to do is get an older generation or get the type of jury who's not into all of that stuff. They're going to screen everybody that's on that jury. And this is the part that I hate. The news and everybody else comes out and they immediately call it a lynching. No, it's a murder, period. It's a wrong murder. From what we know.
Yeah.
It's a murder. By putting the narrative of this is a modern day lynching and making it race and black, which it could have been. I don't know. You don't know. We all don't know. Whatever you want to see.
At that point, you gotta, if you want to make that the case, you gotta look into the backgrounds of everybody.
You have to look into the backgrounds of everybody. On top of that, you're putting this narrative on the whole situation that it was a racially involved shooting, a racially involved murder. Boom. Now, once again, where did we get that original story from? Because Arbery is dead.
Yeah.
Who came up with that? Is there a witness? Is there a witness to say he was jogging and he was wrongfully chased and shot? If there's not a witness, guess what? All of this racial stuff that you guys are talking does not justify first-degree murder. What is going to happen is if they go by the tape shows a scuffle. A scuffle which turns into a shooting. First-degree murder is already out of the window, people.
Yeah.
So now, because of how the news and everybody else has already made everybody mad by putting the whole narrative that it is a racially inspired shooting,
Which is because of past events, by the way. This is not a race thing because of this shooting. This is a race thing
Bingo.
because this has been going on forever.
bingo.
And this is just giving people another reason to make this about race.
Which means that the way the court see it will be different from the narrative of the way everybody else see it. So this was happening. And I hate when this happens. They go to trial. The guys don't get the life sentence that everybody wants. They get off in a certain amount of time, and then everybody starts to say, oh, the system don't work. The system this. No, you guys have to understand how the law works.
Whether you like it or not, the law works a certain way.
Whether you like it or not, this is how and the reason that everybody is entitled to a fair trial is because the same thing as if you or I commit a crime, we are entitled to a fair trial. It's for everybody. It's up to the state to prove.
See, a lot of people they're immediately, I think maybe without even knowing it, they're immediately eliminating the fair trial part. Because they immediately see a white guy killing a black guy, and they immediately want the white guy in prison. And I'm not trying to defend the white dudes and say that they're right. I'm not trying to defend them. I don't know what happened. But what I'm saying is there's a process to go about this. It's a fair trial. They don't have to prove that they didn't kill him. They obviously killed him on camera. They got to prove that they did it for a good reason. And if they prove that in court, then they get off in a certain amount of time, and people don't like that. If this was the other way around, it'd be different. You know what I mean? People wouldn't. The fair trial thing would come into play a lot more, et cetera, et cetera. But this is why white versus black gets very, very tricky. Because once it becomes white harming the black, everybody immediately eliminates fair trial.
Yeah, bro, that's my whole point right there. And once everybody thinks that when you throw the narrative of this was a lynching, if you can't prove it was a lynching by you putting it out there, you already let them off. It should be looked at as a murder, not a racially murder.
Yeah, you're right.
Because once you start putting all of that narrative, all they have to do is prove by some type of unreasonable doubt that that's not what it was. If you look at the video that I seen, unless there's another video floating around.
I've only seen one video, the video from the car.
The video from the car. And if somebody else has a video, please send it to me because I need to see it, because the video I seen shows him running, the guy recording from behind.
Yeah, and then he runs like past the truck and stuff like that.
He runs past the truck and then out of the frame.
Yeah. Then back into the frame, but it's like when he's back in the frame, the scuffle already started. You don't really know how it started. That's why it's tricky. You know what I mean?
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, if you dissect this tape And if the same people who are doing all this talking are going by the same tape I saw, I'm looking at this tape as a lawyer because I wanted to be a lawyer. If you don't believe what I'm saying, go look up the OJ trial and you will understand why OJ got off.
Yeah.
People sat there and said OJ clearly did it. He had a cut on his hand that matched the blood that was on the gate. The reason the gloves didn't fit is because they know over a certain amount of time, those type of gloves that was left out in the rain shrink.
Yeah.
He was taking a medication for arthritis, which swells your hands.
And it makes it bigger.
When he went to put on the glove, his whole defense team knew it wouldn't fit. It had nothing to do with whether it was the actual glove. It was the fact that all I have to do is prove that a reasonable doubt. Does this glove fit his hand? No, it don't. Is it possible that if this is the glove that killed them, is it possible that maybe that he could not have worn it?
Yes.
That's all you need to get off.
That's how they look at it in court.
That's how courts work. Then you'll have everybody say, oh, this system don't work for black people. We have to start understanding.
OJ wasn't black. I mean, OJ wasn't white. OJ was black.
On top of that.
And he got off. So when he gets off, you're going to say it doesn't work, or you're going to say it works because he's black? That's what I'm saying. Is the whole fair trial thing gets thrown out the window.
It gets thrown out the window, and I think people need to understand that. Like I said, I'm not taking up for nobody. To me, it's wrong. 3 dudes armed. If they gun down anybody.
They could have gunned down a little white boy.
Anybody. And I've said it all the time. When there's a white shooting, nobody makes a big story about it because they know that the white people not going to march.
Yeah. We were talking about the other day.
When it's a black story, they know if they put a racial narrative on it, we're going to go crazy and we're going to march and do all this other stuff. And to be honest with you, if all of this marching was going to change anything, we wouldn't be in this predicament that we're in now.
Yeah, that's like the whole underlying question. Is it gonna change the narrative? If you ask me, I personally don't think it's going to change the narrative. I don't think, man, we need a lot to change the narrative because a lot has already happened. Everything from black students getting killed by white people to white cops killing black people. I mean, we have had a lot of reasons to change the narrative, and we haven't changed the narrative. I don't think people are working hard enough to change the narrative. They might think they're working hard enough, but let's be real. Prayers up and I wish for the family. I mean, that's all you're doing is saying prayers up and I wish the best for the family. You're not actually inducing any change. Therefore, nothing's going to change. You're obviously showing that you care. Of course I care. Like, such and such happened to somebody. But if you don't actually get out and do anything, then all you're doing is saying that you care.
That's all.
Which is not going to change anything.
That's all you're doing. And you get to the point to where you say stuff like, I'll take it back to, like I said, the original narrative of him just jogging and being shot.
Yeah.
Who did it come from? His family? That ain't going to hold up in court.
True. Yeah, it's definitely not going to hold up in
court. You know what I'm saying? If there's not an eyewitness to support the story that we all are presented with, because we're being presented with an unarmed black man was jogging through the neighborhood and he was gunned down by 3 racist white men. Where did we get that from?
Where did the word racist come from? Let's put it to you this way, right? You got to find, if you really want the story to hold validity, aside from it just being a racist thing, you need to eliminate the color. You can't say which color shot which color, and you can't use the word racist. Because if you say a man was jogging through a neighborhood and was killed by 3 men, the story might not blow up it might not blow up how it did. The minute you say a black man was running through the neighborhood jogging, getting shot by a white man, immediately the word racist comes out of nowhere. So people don't understand that these cases, whether you like it or not, they're being judged colorless. Because it's all about evidence. It's not about, unless you like legit kill him on camera and you catch him doing a crime on the camera, unless you're catching him doing a crime on the camera, then they're not completely crazy for saying stuff like this. You know what I mean? Because you don't catch him doing any crimes on the camera. You don't hear what the white people or the white guys are saying to him. So it's just people just see white killing a black and they make it racist. And that might not always be is it the case? Many times, of course it is. That doesn't mean it always is the case. And I think that's where the problem lies, is they immediately change it to that. And that's why I say they take out fair trial.
100%. And I think we all have to be careful when we try to put these narratives out there, because it's one thing for somebody to send me a link and say, Man, look at this video. These white dudes shot this black dude. All he was doing was jogging. You have to support that in court. That can be your opinion.
Yeah.
His family can say he jogs there every day. We know he was jogging, and it could be 100% true.
It could very well be true.
I need people to understand this. That could be 100% true, but how do you prove that?
By just saying he does it doesn't prove it in court. In court, it doesn't prove it.
I
believe you, but in court, it doesn't prove that.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I believe he probably was just jogging.
No, I believe it is. That's why I say we're not trying to defend the white dudes. I believe he was jogging. But looking at it from the perspective of a court, how do you prove that?
How do you prove that?
You can't. Just because you catch him on video jogging doesn't mean he always does that. Doesn't mean that's what he was doing.
Nope.
He could have been running from the dude in the car. That's how the court looks at it.
That's how the court looks at it.
The court's going to look at it as like, oh, everybody's like, oh, well, look, he's clearly jogging. The court going to look at it as like, he could have been jogging away from the car.
And then you have this whole thing with the citizens arrests and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Now, and this is how I feel that the defense is going to argue this. They were making this citizens arrest, which I don't like. I really don't like this whole thing.
Me neither.
But you know how easy it is to say that we was making a citizen's arrest and he didn't want to comply. We wanted to contain him until the police came. This is what they're going to argue. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
We wanted to contain him till the police came. He didn't. He got into a fight with us. We had our guns or whatever. And in the process of this, shots was fired, which puts it into not first degree, people.
Yeah, that's not first degree.
It's a whole nother narrative.
People don't know that's not actually first degree murder.
No, it's not. That takes away premeditation.
A lot of people don't know people don't know that premeditated is like you planned it.
Bingo.
Stuff like that. Like people don't know that.
Oh, your opinion might say they planned it, but you have to prove they planned it.
In the court of law, how does it go? It's innocent until proven guilty.
Innocent until proven
whether
guilty.
you like it or not, those white guys are innocent until there's enough evidence to prove that they are guilty.
Bingo.
And if they do not have enough evidence to prove that they are guilty, they're innocent. They're gonna get out whether you like it or not.
What if the white guy says Arbery came around in front of that truck and punched me and grabbed my gun? Who is there to defend that?
Exactly.
Not to say that's what happened. I just need you guys to understand what we're telling you. Who is there to defend that?
And unfortunately, Arbery's not here to defend himself.
Definitely.
Which makes it so much harder. When the other person is not here to defend themselves, let's say he got shot and he survived. It'd have been a lot different. Because then we would have probably heard what really happened. Bingo.
And I'm a firm believer, and I hate to say this, but I understand people who have their gun license and want to defend themselves from situations like that.
Yeah. No, I understand it.
I honestly feel if Arbery had his gun, he was in the right to get the blast and y'all chasing me.
Yeah.
You know? And to me, that's an easier case for him. Yeah. If Arbery had a gun and he went to pull out his gun and went to busting at them, would have been a lot easier to prove.
I think that's probably going to classify as self-defense in court.
Bingo. That would have been a lot easier to prove.
Yeah.
That, oh, yeah, these white guys were chasing me and I pulled out my gun and they were strapped.
Yeah.
That's a lot easier to prove than to have him dead. And it's sad. They tell you this in defense class. Anybody who has done a concealed weapons license, they tell you, if somebody breaks into your house,
you are allowed to
and you shoot them.
Yeah, you're fine.
You need to kill them.
Yeah.
Because if you don't kill them, they can always come back and tell their part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And their part of the story could be a complete lie.
Yep.
And they tell you this when you get your gun license. There's been people who've broken into people's houses and sued the person whose house it was.
The house they were in, and I probably shot them.
And they've sued and won the case because you guys have to understand the law. You have to be able to prove these things. I send my prayers out to the family. Lord, 100%. Please be with them through this time. And I pray that justice is served. I pray that it is.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest with you. It's not clear cut as it seems, people. And we need to start understanding
Majority of these cases are not.
They're not.
Even the big ones. A few of them are, but majority of them are not as clear cases you might think. It might, you can't just say white guy killed black guy, put white guy in jail forever. They're not all like that.
They're not all like that.
They're not all like that. All right, so let me ask you a quick question before we wrap it up, because we're coming up to the end here. It's the question is posed simply, but it probably has a complicated answer. You think guns should be allowed or no?
I think guns should be allowed to people who qualify for them with a more stricter.
A lot more stricter, yeah.
Rule.
Because right now it's very easy to get one.
Yes, the rules are not strong enough. The classes are not good enough. I think that guns are only good in the hands of the right people, and then unfortunately, that's something that we cannot control right now. I feel like innocent people who are not out here doing things should have the right to be able to protect themselves, especially in that situation.
Yeah.
Like I said, but how many times you gonna want to jog with your gun on you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's also
It's not
true.
something
It's
that's
not
really
something that,
comfortable to do. But I'm gonna be honest with you, you should be able to.
yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, you should be able to jog and do whatever you want and not feel that way. But I'm sorry, I feel I used to be different about these things, but now I honestly feel like, and I've watched too many YouTube videos to kind of mess up my mind. But yeah, I feel like everybody should be carrying
have the right,
one. Yeah. Because, I think it eliminates a lot of things, but it also puts you in a lot of different situations because, like I said, even with a gun license, I have to prove that I had a reason
to use it.
Yeah. It's people who have gun license, people who shoot people, breaking into their house, and they get in trouble because it's rules with that. I can't shoot you if you're running away. You break in my house, I shoot at you. The minute you turn your back, I have to stop shooting.
Yeah.
How hard is that in the mode of somebody breaking in your house? Somebody breaking in your house, you're busting.
Yeah. You're not thinking about that.
You're not thinking about that.
There's not many people that are qualified to be able to train themselves to know that the minute you turn around, I can't shoot you no more. You in my house.
You in my house.
I don't care if you're looking at me or not. You in my house.
And the minute you shoot somebody in the back, now they want to look at you. You're a criminal and you're just trying to protect your family. So I think people need to be careful when it comes to those things. But do I think everybody should be able to have a gun to protect themselves?
I
Yes.
agree.
But it's a lot of dummies out here with guns too.
A lot.
Like,
There's too many. There's more guns in America than people. Did you know that? It's
bro,
crazy.
I've been in cars with friends of mine and their friends have pulled up next to them and pointed a gun at them just playing. That ain't how you play.
Do not play like that.
You know what I mean?
Bro.
You have too many people doing stupid stuff. You have too many people leaving guns around.
Those are the kind of people that shouldn't have a gun.
They shouldn't. So, it's one of them things to where, I feel like you should have the right to protect your family. I think that when you talk about shotguns versus handguns, we need to understand that there's a big difference.
Huge,
if I'm
bro.
at home and I have a shotgun, that's something that's not hidden. It's not concealed.
You can't really conceal that,
You
bro.
can't conceal that.
And you could blow somebody to pieces with a shotgun. A handgun is different.
A
Handgun
handgun
you
is
could
different.
like stick in your glove compartment or
Yeah.
something like that. You cannot hide a shotty or an AR, something like that.
And usually if a person has a shotgun in their house, they're usually only keeping it to protect their house.
Yeah, they don't walk around with a shotgun,
You
bro.
know
they
what I
don't go
mean?
to the mall with a shotgun like in their back or
That's
something
what
like
I'm
that.
saying.
Like you
So
don't do that.
You have people who, even with a concealed handgun, you have to be smart. You know what I mean? You have people who take guns places that
Don't need to be there. Which is why it goes to your point that if you're gonna give it to people, you gotta give it to people who have the right judgment, man. There's people out here who do not have the right judgment having a weapon. Now I will say this though, not allowing guns at all, taking guns away from everybody, whether you're qualified or not. The only thing that does is make cases like this one a lot easier. But you don't allow self-defense for anybody, bro, because you can still get hurt. You can still kill somebody without having to use a gun.
and on top of that, that to me would never work because
It won't work.
people are too creative. You could make a gun nowadays.
Yeah, you can
know
make
what
a
I mean?
gun nowadays.
So it'll get to a point to where you'll never be able to strip that from everybody. And to me, that just allows people to do more stuff like rob and steal for guns.
Yeah.
Because
Makes it a little easier to get away with it.
Yeah, the minute you try to take everybody's guns away, the minute you tell that cop on the corner that, hey, he might get robbed for his gun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The minute you do that, you think dudes ain't gonna go breaking into all these places, then you're gonna really have criminals only with guns.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you're right.
It changes a whole, to a whole another problem.
Let me tell you the biggest reason why I think guns are not going away as we wrap it up. I don't think guns are gonna go away because there's too much money behind it.
Oh, you already know.
Government and all these gun companies, they profit way too much off of guns to just let it
You
go.
know how much bullets cost?
Yeah, forget the gun itself, because guns are already hundreds, thousands of dollars. People don't know bullets cost a lot of money, bro.
Bro.
When you buy a gun, the guns don't come with bullets, bro. You gotta buy the bullets too.
Bullets are expensive. Bro.
Bullets are expensive. You know what I mean? So
That's a good place to end it, man.
Yeah.
Once again, we want to thank you all for watching and supporting.
Absolutely.
It's your boy Baker Boy. You can find me more live than you entertainment.
it's your boy Young Sister. You can find me on IG, Twitter, TikTok, all three of them the same. YOUNGCICER. Oh, 2 O's at the end. Don't forget.
Yeah, I can't do TikTok. I done diss TikTok, so I can't.
I'm growing. TikTok is growing on me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
You all be safe. We love y'all. One, we out.
Peace out, now. Go ahead.
That's why every time I snap, I turn it into end game.